Good morning. This is Christine, and I want to talk about something that's really important and ever present, and that is fear. And in this time of the virus and so much uncertainty and so much change, and as you know, my perspective, if you're new here, welcome. But if you know my perspective, I think this is a time of great transformation. I think we're dividing ourselves in some ways. We're finding the division within ourselves and the division amongst our societies. But it's also truly a tremendous time of growth and change. But I want you to look at fear and where that resides within you. And lately I've been hearing a lot of people saying, I'm not fearful. A good example is people wearing masks. And this is not about telling you what to do. This is about awareness. But I hear people saying, I'm wearing a mask because I'm not afraid for me. I want to make it very clear, I'm not afraid for me, but I'm doing it for someone else. I'm doing it for the greater good, right? That's noble, but it's not exactly honest. I'm inviting you to be honest with yourself, not just around the, wearing or not wearing a mask, but fear within your life. So just for a moment, we're going to stay with the fear of wearing a mask or not wearing a mask. So for instance, someone says, I'm only wearing a mask because I'm not afraid of the virus, but I'm afraid. They don't use the word I'm afraid, but they say I am wearing a mask because it protects others, and that's the right thing to do. Okay? Like I said, that's a wonderful thing to do, to care for others. But please look at it and acknowledge that it comes from a place of fear. And your fear is, if you're saying I'm wearing a mask for others, there may be some disassociation from your own fear. Because most people, probably close to 100% of people, are afraid of death. So you wear a mask because your greatest fear is that you will die or someone you know will die, right? So just be honest about that. Then you can look it in the face. Fear, like every other emotion we experience, is a vibrational field. Fear has a very specific energy to it. It makes your body feel very specifically. It gets tense. You get anxious. Your heart races. You get paralyzed. Your stomach drops. It's all these different things. But fear is present at one time or another in everyone's life. If you expand it out, you have fear of I'm not going to be loved. Fear that I won't have the job that I like. Fear that I won't be seen. Fear that I won't be heard. Fear that others will abuse me. Fear that others will that I'm invisible. Like, there are many, many fears that we live with. Now we have fear of, will I be able to support my family? Will I be able to support myself? Will I be able to pay my mortgage? Will my business fail? Well, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what is happening. So I really want to just stay in the context of the COVID-19 virus, the coronavirus right now, and look at the fear that is creating. But you when you create something, you start at a base point, right? So there's already fear, which is why you can have more fear, because it's an electromagnetic field and you bring more to it. So to say that you're not existing in fear and that I don't have fear is not I don't want to use the word not, because maybe it is serving you, right? Fear is something. Fear is a vibrational field, and fear is a holding point, right? But it also can be the next step into maybe anger or depression or isolation or boredom. We don't stay in the same field. It may be, and also because it's vibrational field, we're multidimensional beings, you may be fearful, you may be happy, you may be content, you may be very secure. That's what we do. We go up and down the emotions, we go up and down the vibrational field, right? But I also want you to take a look and see, go beyond the fear and see what you're creating, right? So for me personally, I understand that fear is just part of an awakening process for many. That it is an awareness piece. Sometimes it gets you aware of something outside of yourself. Sometimes it brings an awareness of, it does bring people together. It does connect people. But I know personally, I acknowledge and I accept that fear is here. It may not be something I agree with. What I mean by something I agree with is I understand why people feel the need to protect themselves. I understand where people feel like they don't feel safe. And with this virus, information's continually changing. And it's unknown. So acknowledge that you have an uneasiness with not knowing how things are going to work out or where things go. The more you embrace your truth, that is a sense of freedom, because then you are looking at what is actually in place with you. I want to say holding you back, right? Then again, this is not a judgment. This is not saying to do this or to do that. It's just an awareness piece for you. Where are you? But I know for me, I don't really want to live in a world where family members don't see each other and don't touch each other. I don't want to live in a world where children grow up with a mass between caregivers, teachers, people in the world, and that disconnection. I don't really, I can accept it, right? Because if this is what brings the greatest change, until people decide that they need to live in a different vibration, I'm okay with that. But I want you to look really deeply into your heart and see what is your greatest fear. If you look in the field right now, people are afraid that loneliness will be their only existence. And this experience increases that loneliness. It increases the isolation. Increases the fear of not being able to provide for yourself or provide for your family. It increases the fear and the uneasiness of not knowing what's going to happen. It increases the fear of separation, and it creates separation. So again, I'm just asking you to look at where you are, and then you make your decisions based on that. I also want you to be aware of when you're in a lower vibrational field, and fear is a lower vibrational field, and again, it's not something, you may not be in it 100%, but you're in it, possibly. If you're still listening to this, this resonates with you. But when you're in fear, or depression, or doubt, it's very hard to connect to your highest self, your wisdom, your heart, your God self. It's hard to be inspired. It's not impossible, right? But it just makes it a little difficult because it's like seeing through a fog. So I encourage you to do today is just take a few moments, recognize where you feel unsettled, where you truly are fearful. And I guarantee, I know it because I talk to so many people and I get communication from so many people. Your greatest fear is death. That you're going to cause your own death or you're going to cause the death of someone else. It's okay to acknowledge that. It's helpful to acknowledge that. And then you look and see, why is that scary to you? And if that feels like that's too much, then back it up a little bit. And maybe you're just timid and fearful. You're unsure of change. Maybe change really scares you. Right? In some instances, the world's changed at a very, very quick pace. But I mean, instantaneously, we've changed lifestyle for almost every being on the planet. It's a slower shift in consciousness, right? So both are holding hands, right? The change in lifestyle, the change in consciousness. But it's up to you to decide how you're going to do it. You have choices. And I want you to recognize where you already are brave. You already do have courage. And perhaps look back on your life experience. Where did you handle change? Did you handle it gracefully? Did you go into it with exuberance and excitement? Did it terrify you? Did you put on the brakes? Does it cause anxiety and panic? Does it make you pull back? Neither experience is right or wrong. It's just what's better for you in your moment to now and the consciousness you want to be in. I have an older brother. He's told the story many times that when we were kids, we were going to be moving from one state to another state. And he had heard this information from our parents. He wasn't really supposed to hear that. He wasn't supposed to hear the conversation, but he heard that we were going to be moving a couple months before he did. And his fear was that it would hurt to lose his friends and to move away from his best friends. So what he did is he pulled himself away from his friends 6 or 7 months before we actually moved. And years later, he realized that wasn't his best solution because he missed a lot. He's missed those 6, 7 months of pulling himself back and not engaging and having the friendships that he wanted, and it was harder to move it forward. And then he also, once we moved, was in a vibrational field where he pulled himself back and he wasn't really engaging in friendship. So his intention had a lot of value. His experience was one that fit his mindset at that time. And perhaps going forward, he would do things a little differently. That it's okay to allow change to come and let the change come in its own time and deal with it in the time that it comes. We have a habit of going way far out. We either go way far out or we go way behind. So I invite you to now just live in the moment. And in this moment, what's your best? And in this moment, what's your choice? And I'm looking, and for those of you who are, let's be honest, are terrified of the virus and terrified what can happen, just stay in that. And it's a challenge to stay in that vibration of fear and terror and breathe through it. Take a deep breath. Let it go out, like your belly comes out when you breathe in. Hold it in for 4 or 5 seconds and let it go through your whole entire body, out to your feet. And as you're taking that breath in, you're imagining you're bringing this kind of sparkly gold energy or clear energy, however you envision it, and let it go down into each and every cell of your body to love and comfort and let that fear mature into something else. Right? And you get to decide what the fear is. Right now I see a lot of fear of being lonely. Will I always be lonely for the rest of my life? Where's my person? Where's my people? And then you decide, does isolation work best for you? Maybe if it doesn't, maybe today's the day you go out and you take a walk. You get outside. So again, I'm in the mindset, I accept what is. But I know, and my intention is, that we override this vibration of fear quickly for the highest and best of all. And the way you do that is you expand your vibration. It's just your thought, and it's a constant practice. Maybe I expand my vibration of all is well, all is okay, that I am safe, that the world is safe, and that change. And then you fill in the blank. What has changed you? Change is creative. Change is beautiful. Change is needed. I personally see and believe and understand the bigger picture. I see a bigger picture. That change is not only needed, but we've all asked for change. So when's the last time you asked for something and then refused it? Because your highest self, your expanded consciousness, has asked for change in the way we do life. You're here, you're in a physical body, you've asked for change. So ask yourself, how can I gracefully allow change into my life? Okay. That wraps it up for today. But I really want you to take a deep dive into your vibrational field, into your emotions, and see what's true for you. And I invite you to be honest, really, really honest with yourself. Because it's the clarity and the awareness, that's the growth, and that's the expansion of your consciousness. So thank you for being with me today. I appreciate it. I love you. I see you. I hear you, and I truly do understand you. And my best to you. Thank you.